Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're checking out the new NULL Knives Grace prototype. Now, these will be up for pre-order coming up here really soon, the beginning of February. Now, this is a collaboration with Brandon CORBIN, a custom knife maker who has a custom version of this. But now this one is the production version, and the OEM is Reat. Now there's going to be a couple small changes to it that we'll talk about here as we move along. But we have an M390 blade, and M390 from Reat is, as far as overseas Chinese companies, Reat's the best. Hands down, they're unbeatable. Like they are the best. Reat's the best. And they do the best job on M390. In my opinion, I don't think I don't think any other Chinese company compares to Reat's M390. So that's awesome. And it's a dual ground Tanto blade. Beautiful Tanto. Sick looking. I love the look of this thing. It's got a nasty look to it. We'll come back to this blade here in 1 second. Titanium frame lock with inlays, and there's going to be 4 different versions, by the way. This one has the green micarta, and I got to say, this is the best inlay work I think I've ever seen. And I've held a lot of Reats with inlays. I have some. This is just, it's perfect. I don't think it could get any better. Even as far as feeling the transition, I can't even feel it with my nail hardly. If it wasn't for the texture just being slightly different on the micarta, I wouldn't even notice a change. But I can feel that slight change in the texture of the micarta. But as far as the transition and the lines go, there's nothing. It's so perfect, at least on this prototype. Titanium milled pocket clip that works great. And it has a floating titanium backspacer, as you can see. Now, there is, like I said, 4 different versions. One with a zirconium clip and backspacer. We'll check those out here in 1 second. But going back, let's talk about the action, then we'll go back to the blade. So the action is so good. The thumb studs have great texture all the way around them, and they just work so perfect for the reverse flick. That's my primary way to deploy this. My finger lands right in the right spot, right behind that thumb stud, and it's super easy to flick out. The detent is exactly where I want it. No more, no less. It is a fantastic detent, and no detent lash. When it's locked open, no play. Even when it's open, I don't feel any play. So very, very well done. Now the thumb stud also works really good. So obviously it's a thumb stud action. So you can use your thumb studs as well. Now Lockbar Axis, that is one of my complaints. However, they are changing it. So this is one thing they are going to modify. They are going to change this, and they are going to knock this back a little bit and allow access from the side, which I always recommend doing that. Now, the blade. So this is a nasty looking blade. Now they are going to change this slightly with this front portion right here. They're going to barely curve it just slightly, very, very slightly. It's going to look very similar to this, but just have a little, it's going to come out just a slight bit more. Thin geometry here on the hollow grind, then you have a flat grind up here. This is going to pass through materials very well. It's not going to be the most practical for everything, and we'll talk more about that here in a second, but it's going to look badass doing anything, that's for sure. Ergonomics. It's pretty comfortable. It's a little narrow down here, but it's fine. I have a good grip. I do feel this part of the clip right here, but not in a hot spot way. I am aware of it. But as far as bearing down, I could definitely get by with it. But pinch grips is where it's going to be mostly. You're not going to be doing reverse grips with this. There's just not enough edge. You try to cut ropes with it this way, you're going to slip up and out of the edge. This is mostly going to be a pinch grip knife, and it's very comfortable in that grip. So, for using the tip for opening things up, or using the secondary tip for opening things up, you can definitely use this portion right here if you had to cut down on something, or do a push cut down on something. That'll work just fine. But as far as being a work knife or using it in a practical way long term, it's not that kind of knife. And So to me personally, like if you ask me like, who's this knife for? What kind of knife is this and who's it for? So I would say it's for somebody looking for a good looking, badass looking knife for just basic EDC. So it's a knife that you can take out of your pocket, do your cut, close it back up, maybe flick it open and close a few times before you do, just to check her out, and then put it back in your pocket. You know, it's not going to be your work knife. It's not going to be your cardboard destroyer. It's going to be your cool looking EDC knife that you pull out of your pocket to make one simple cut and put back away, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very cool. Like I said, it has an aggressive look to it that's very eye appealing. Even the pivot has this revolver, cylinder look, with the 6 holes. That looks so badass. The grind lines from the satin finish looks amazing. And you can see right here, CORBIN's logo. Choil and sharpening choil and plunge grind, perfectly well executed. So yeah, this is going to be a knife for somebody who wants a knife with some style. You don't want a knife that looks like everybody else's knife. You want something that stands out of the crowd, and and that's what this is. And I think it's badass. Could it be used for self-defense? Yeah, I suppose so. I think that this would be a pretty good self-defense knife. It has a very aggressive tip, so anything you lunge at or poke at is going to get poked. It will work in the reverse grip as well, and you can cup the butt end of it. So I think it would work fairly well in this. And since it is a frame lock, you're going to be squeezing the lock stronger, so you probably won't have to really worry about it failing on you. But, for a folder, right? Obviously, I think it's more, for, basic EDC knives, but I think it could definitely fit that role if needed. Now, the stop pin is a regular stop pin. You can see it right there, and it has a shouldered lockup. The lockup is really good, even with a very slow roll. Locks up every time. No play any direction. And even with detent lash, no detent lash, it has a great detent. Perfect detent. So, yeah, this thing is solid. I think it is extremely, extremely well done. NULL Knives, man, they got some amazing designs. And then this collaboration with Brandon Corbin, yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park. Let's check out some of the specs really quick so you can see if you want to pause and check out any of the specs. Like I said, this thing will be available for pre-order in the beginning of February, so here real soon. Then you can see the 4 different versions right here. Let me back you guys out a little bit. You got the 4 different options here, as you can see, and you can see the different prices. This one is the green micarta one, so this exact version right here will be about $355. But you can see for the zirconium clip and backspacer and pivot, it will be $375. Not too bad, just a few dollars more if you wanted to upgrade to that. Then, wrong way. Then we have the changes. So we already talked about them. There's one we didn't talk about, actually, a couple. So you can see right here, this is the new blade drawn over the old blade, so you can see how they're going to bring the edge out just a little bit and slightly curve it. Then over here you can see they're going to add some jimping. So the jimping's good, but it could be, it could have some more added to it, which, that's what they're going to do. So very cool. It's good jimping, very catchy. It definitely gives you traction. And then the lock bar cutout, we talked about that. That's awesome. I always recommend that. And then the last thing is they're going to shorten up the detent ramp. So it does have a detent ramp in it. So when you disengage it, if you hit the detent, it takes a little bit to get past it, but it's really easy to get past it still. But I always recommend if you're gonna do a ramp, do a short one. Don't make it long, because it always sucks when you get onto there and then you're trying to get it up onto the tang of the blade, the detent, and it's fighting between opening back up or staying in that track. And you got to wait for it to get up on that ramp. So nothing wrong with detent ramps. They don't need to be really big like this one. Nice and short like that, or just don't even do them at all. But I do understand the purpose for them. They kind of protect the detent ball from getting ripped out or, having problems. So as far as this Lockbar Axis goes, so they're going to change this out and they're going to make it a little bit bigger. You know, my one complaint on this knife is the Lockbar Axis. I do wish it was a little bit better. Now, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But, you know, when you think about what would be the best, right? What would be the best? Well, when I think about the best, the Lockbar Axis is big. I'm able to get to it very easily. It's super comfortable, super easy to disengage, and it feels very premium because you have a nice comfortable pad there. It's not sharp, it's not pokey, and it's easy to push. Now, maybe making this a little bit bigger will create that. I'm not 100%. I would personally suggest knocking this back a little bit, but they're going to make this a little bit bigger, which could possibly do the trick. So, but that would be my only real complaint, but they are addressing it, so I don't think it'll be an issue in the end. All in all, awesome knife. Like I said, I think it's a damn good looking knife. I think whoever buys this is, they're looking for a stylish knife, something that speaks badassery, right? So something that when you pull it out, it's not like everybody else's knife. It's something unique, and it can be damn useful too. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Everything will be linked down in the description for you guys. Peace.